What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is our little pop culture moment, and I'm going to be talking about this bad boy who apparently 3 weeks ago the show started streaming on Stan. As you can see from that, I've already watched all 3 episodes that are out so far. And it is so good. So I'm going to talk about it real quick. I am still very early into the book. I've only read like the first 4 chapters. I'm on chapter 5 at the moment, out of a total of, let me just, here's our epilogue. Out of how many? I'm not reading any of this, but I don't want to know how it ends. 30. Wow. So early. But yeah, so there's, okay, so roughly 2 an episode? Roughly 2, potentially 3 chapters per episode. Would give us around 12 to 13 episodes, depending on how much action from each chapter they want to put in. Okay. But no, it's really good. It's really good. If you haven't read the book or haven't watched the show, I do encourage you to do both. I'm going to make it through this before I finish the show, because if I can read at least a chapter a night, it won't be too long before I'm ahead of where the show is up to, and we'll sort of be able to know some things that are coming in the show, and then it'll just be a case of being able to tell how well they've adapted those things. But for the moment, like I said, I'm only on chapter 5 at the moment. The show is still a little bit ahead of me, so I do sort of know some things to expect in the next couple of chapters. But yeah, I'll give you the little like blurb things that they have on the show. So on the pilot, it has, on the first day of school at Bayview High, 5 students enter detention, but only 4 come out alive, and all of them have secrets to kill for, which is essentially just what chapter 1 is. I mean, it makes sense that chapter 1 is going to be just the pilot, because that's where like you need everything in your setup to make the show interesting, to give it that hook. You just want the first chapter in there, done. The second episode has the Bayview 4 go to Simon's wake and become official suspects in his murder. Addie does everything in her power to prevent Jake from discovering her secret. And then episode 3 has the Bayview 4's secrets start to drop. Bronwyn makes a surprising discovery about her sister. Cooper faces the biggest test of his sports career. And yeah, surprisingly Nate's come out so far relatively unscathed. Which is interesting, but we've already started to get character growth from characters that I think you're supposed to think, at least to begin with, are an antagonizing force in the protagonists' lives. Obviously, the idea being that one of the protagonists is in fact the person that committed the murder, hence the title of One of Us is Lying. Obviously implying that it's one of the 4. Watching the show and reading the book, there's a couple of things that I've noticed that they've like swapped and changed. Like, it's a Mr. Avery in this book, but it's Mrs. Avery in the show. That's like a minor thing. It's like, okay, yep, cool. Like, they're playing the same role, so gender didn't really, like, wasn't specifically had to be a male, because you know, it did a specifically male, you know, the character did a specifically male thing, as opposed to, you know, being a female doing a specific female thing, like giving birth, for instance. It doesn't happen, so gender doesn't really matter to the character as long as like the personality's there. So that's like a minor thing that they've changed, and like the show, even in its first 3 episodes, already has the police investigating. They are not even anywhere close to having police investigation yet in the first 4 chapters of the book. So it's, and yet some of the other things that have come out in like episode 3 have already sort of been in the book. So it's kind of, yeah, and I could probably sit here and talk forever about the adaptation process from being a paper medium, a physical, like handheld, it's a good smell, medium, as far as a visual one like TV, especially a serial, and I'm really glad that more and more YA books are going the serial on a streaming platform way, because that's obviously the way that modern day young adults are going to consume that content, and making this one an exclusive, and it is worth. There's other things on Stan that make it worth it as well, but as far as its exclusives go, One of Us is Lying is worth getting Stan. Even if you only get your little 1 month free when like the last episode comes out, and they just binge the whole thing in like one sitting, worth it. It's well worth it. I'm really excited for next Friday when the 4th episode comes out. Hopefully I will be much further along than chapter 5 by then. Hopefully I'll be halfway through the book, is where I'm aiming for. So if I'm up to chapter 15 or chapter 16 even before Friday, I'm gonna be real happy. But like the production design, the soundtrack, the casting, I don't recognize a single actor on this show. So this is sort of like my, you know, like I can come in without being like, oh, I know this person's acting style. It's literally like, these people are, because I don't know any of them, defining these characters. You know, like I can look at them and be like, that's just that character. Yeah. So the casting's amazing. Yeah, like the sets and locations, the costuming, makeup, like I don't think I can fault anything on this show. I think there are actually, no, only one thing. But having sort of reread the first couple of chapters, at least, it makes a little bit more sense why they've done this. But it's starting to feel like a trope that the quote-unquote resident BIPOC character also is going to be the resident LGBT character. So in this, that character is Cooper, and yeah, he in the show he's an African American, whereas in the book he's described as having sandy coloured hair and a thick southern accent when he gets stressed, and it sort of comes out more when he's stressed. And that always just in my mind, and maybe this is just, I don't know, maybe this is something that I need to rethink about myself, but when I get descriptions like sandy haired, my brain automatically goes to more of a white coloured skin. You know? Like I always thought Bronwyn, you know, was like, you know, had like a Hispanic background. Addie's sort of supposed to be the proper princess. So obviously the stereotypical blonde hair, Caucasian came to mind. And Nate was always really just sort of a nondescript form in my head. I don't think I ever really assigned like a race or an ethnicity or anything like that to Nate. But yeah, I don't know. I think there was something about the fact that even though it's like keeping true in some ways to the book, I don't know, I'm a little bit annoyed that they're sticking with one of the tropes. But I mean, they literally refer to the fact that being a geek, a jock, a criminal, and a princess, they are 4 out of 5 of the characters of the Breakfast Club. So yeah, but yeah, I like this series. I think because it is basically the Breakfast Club, but a murder mystery. I think that's what it is that drew me to this series. Because like, I did read the whole blurb, so if you want to know what the whole thing's about, it says here, 5 students walk into detention, only 4 live alive. Yale hopeful Bronwyn has never publicly broken a rule. Sports star Cooper only knows what he's doing in the baseball diamond. Bad boy Nate is 1 misstep away from a life of crime. Prom queen Addie is holding together the cracks in her perfect life. And outsider Simon created the notorious gossip app at Bayview High. Creator of. Won't ever talk about any of them again. He dies 24 hours before he could post their deepest secrets online. Investigators conclude it's no accident, all of them are suspects. Everyone has secrets, right? What really matters is how far you'll go to protect them. And yeah, and then yeah, one of a character who does not identify themselves because it's a murder mystery, essentially starts posting like A from Pretty Little Liars, being like, haha, I did it, and like, I know all your secrets, so I'm gonna start posting them. Yeah. But yeah, no, so like, there's a whole bunch of tropes in there, obviously, because you've got like the sports star that cares about nothing but sports, basically. You've got the princess who's concerned with like her popularity and her looks, you know, and like her whole personality is the fact that she's like dating the star quarterback or whatever. You've got the geek who's, you know, proudest accomplishment is their straight A's report card. And you've got the bad boy who, you know, doesn't care what others think about him. There's also like a goth chick whose whole like personality is, you know, fuck everyone else for being so happy when I'm not, sort of deal. It seems, at least. Yeah, there's some tropes, but I guess that's sort of, you can't really have YA fiction or on any medium without those. Like, you've got to sort of be like, this is this character, and take it to an extreme, so that it's like, I'm kind of like that character because I also take that thing to that extreme. But I think for once it'd be really cool to have like, you take the tropes, make them like an outward personality, like a defense mechanism, and then on the inside, it's completely inverted. I think those would be interesting characters to explore. I really hope that's what ends up happening in the book or on the show. Don't care which one. But if it happened in the book, it's probably gonna happen on the show as well, so the book would be preferable. But yeah. I mean, that's my 2 cents on the topic. If you haven't already got a subscription for Stan, I will leave the link below. I thoroughly recommend you go check out the show. I know reading's not exactly everyone's cup of tea, obviously is mine. I'm trying to get into it. I've got a whole cupboard full of books that want to be read again. So I'm hoping to get back into it because it's something I miss doing. And I think especially next year if I get into AFTRS, I'm going to be watching enough film as it is with studying it that a break's going to be not watching film. So it's good to have a hobby that's not what I want to do for work, essentially. So yeah, I will leave I'll leave the link for Stan down below, as well as probably the Amazon link for One of Us is Lying, unless Penguin. They've got a website on the back here. I'll put that down below, so there'll be a link to buy One of Us is Lying, and there'll be a link to watch the show One of Us is Lying. And it's really up to you which one you do. I do recommend, if you do like reading, this is a really good book. Karen M. McManus is an amazing author. I've also read her book, The Cousins, really good. One of Us is Lying does have a sequel called One of Us is Next, which I'm really hoping that they'll make as a season 2 to the show, but we'll see how that goes. And then there is a 4th book, essentially a 3rd in this series, called Two Can Keep a Secret. Obviously going off the quote, "Two can keep a secret if one of them's dead," which again just sort of ties in that like Pretty Little Liars sort of feel to it. So yeah, if you liked Pretty Little Liars, if you like shows like Love, Victor, and all those sorts of like, coming of age stories, this is another really good one for you to check out. But that's all I'm going to say on that. I'm going to stop rambling. If you are new here, please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notification bell as well if you want to be notified when I upload new videos. If you enjoyed this one, please give it a big thumbs up. And until next time, keep your head screwed on.